In previous years, a lot of girls have confided in me about their personal experiences with relationships. And most of the time, they're relationships that have gone wrong. Now, I usually read the things they write and can immediately spot some red flags and big no's. But sometimes you're too involved in the situation you're in to see those things for yourself. So here I am, doing it for you. But first, let me give you some brief background about myself. I know you didn't ask, but I feel like I should. My current husband was my first relationship. I did the whole let's be boyfriend and girlfriend in elementary school and middle school. Both of those lasted about like 2 weeks before I wised up and realized how stupid and childish this was. And my now husband was my first everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. First kiss, first date, first... Yeah, you get it. I was really cynical about love as a little girl, but during the times where I did believe that I could have it for myself, I prayed to God that the person he had for me would be my first and last everything. Safe to say he honored that prayer. So to wrap this all up, yes, I have had crushes on boys, and most boys that I shouldn't have had crushes on. But that's where that wised up part came into play, and that's what I'm hoping you guys will get to. So if you're heartbroken right now, or have ever been, or you feel like you're on the road to heartbreak, let's take a look at some of these reasons to see if we can spot why. So 1, ask yourself this. Do you have feelings for a God-honoring man? And I'm serious because this is actually the most important one. Most of you probably stopped in your tracks and rolled your eyes and probably clicked off. Yes, the points in this video will be both practical and biblical. Now let's get back to the video. Now when I say God-honoring man, I don't mean someone who just calls himself a Christian and goes to church on Sunday. I mean he's pursuing God on a day-to-day basis. So listen, let me tell you a quick story time about myself. And when I had a crush on a guy who was Christian but wasn't really a God-honoring man. This was back in college. In college, I knew no Christians. I was the only Christian alongside my best friend. We had no Christian friends. Then one time in sophomore year, we met this guy who was a Christian, or he told us. And listen, immediately I was like, oh my God. I didn't really find him attractive initially, but just because he said he was a Christian, I was just like, yep, this might be it. We were all hanging out in their college suite, dorm room, whatever. We were playing a game like Would You Rather? I forget exactly what we were playing. But during the game, this guy says, I would have a threesome. Immediately, my neck went, are you serious? The light just flicked on that wised up part, that red flag, that ding, 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 ticked right on. And I was like, no, because there's no way you're saying you're a Christian. You took us to church. He took us to church one of those days because he knew we were Christian. And you're sitting here with your group of guys and the both of us and bragging about how you would love to have a threesome. There's no way. There's no way. So yeah. And that all happened in the span of like a week and a half. That crush lasted a week because I don't play those games. You give me one thing that shows me that you're really not about the Christian walk, I'm gone. There's no reason for me to stick around and get my heart broken for you. Okay, so let's tone it back down, my bad. This is not to exempt God-honoring men from screw-ups. I mean, look at David, look at Solomon.
What are you looking at?
Do I even have to explain? But a real God-honoring man will look at the error in his ways and then recognize the need for repentance and submission to God. These men will be separate from the world, not eager to engage in anything like it. They'll be serious and intentional about marriage. They won't leave you guessing. And there are so many other signs that will tell you if a man is God-honoring or not. So maybe I'll dedicate another video to that topic. But one major reason you could be crying in your bedroom right now is because you've given your heart to a man who is not submitting under Christ. Okay, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. No, I'm just playing. Let's go to the second point. And this one gets a little personal. Are you engaging in any sexual activity outside of marriage? Because if you are, that's a good indication. Sex. The forbidden fruit for singles. Listen, I get it. It was hard for me and Calvin too. But we made a vow to each other, to ourselves, and most importantly, to God, that we would not have sex before marriage. Fun fact, whenever you have sex, this hormone called oxytocin is released. And this is the hormone that is associated with all those lovey-dovey feelings. You know, love, affection, peace, comfort, euphoria, you name it. So imagine you having sex with a guy who not only isn't interested in doing things God's way, but also someone who doesn't take sex as seriously as they should. Sex was designed to be a covenant between husband and wife. That was God's intention. The marriage bed, undefiled. No, seriously, like there's a reason why God designed this act of spiritual binding to be within this covenant. He understands the sacredness of sex. Unfortunately, I don't think the world does. So, if you're having premarital sex or engaging in anything sexual, your feelings and emotions and attachments are likely to increase exponentially, even over the little things. So that's why the little things bother you so much, because you're so attached. Consider doing things God's way. And lastly, for the girlies who stuck around and probably are really not even Christians, but they're interested, here's just something that is practical. Does he like you? Like, seriously, does he like you, both romantically and just as a person? Does he care about you? Does he respect you as a human being? I don't know the issues you're heartbroken over, but let me just put it this way. No one who truly cares about a person could bear to hurt them without remorse. Sorry, I had to, but that's why repentance is so important. I just had to. Sorry, all right, back to the practicality, all right? I had been hurt a number of times by my husband before we were married and vice versa. Whether it was intentional or not, we always expressed remorse for it and apologized because we truly cared about each other. So if this guy knows you're hurt and doesn't seem to care, sidebar, don't expect him to read your mind 100% of the time. He might not even know what he did wrong, so it would be a good thing to let him know. People who genuinely like each other are always showing it through their love languages, whether that be spending quality time over a picnic, writing each other love letters for words of affirmation, holding hands or giving hugs for physical touch, helping out with errands for service, or surprising each other with small tokens of appreciation for gifts. Ask yourself if the guy you're interested in knows or even cares about your love languages enough to do them for you. Or does he disregard you? Does he treat you like an afterthought? Does he prioritize other things or people above you? Does he like you? Like, seriously. Without answering these questions or being able to, I'm afraid you're gonna remain heartbroken until you walk away from the situation. And let me reiterate, this is not to say that godly men don't mess up too. They do. We all do. But godly men will rectify their wrongs to you because they understand that God commands husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church. Do you understand what that means? Well, if you don't, I'm afraid that's a conversation for another day.